Hello, welcome to Pianolin TV. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Alex.
This is our fifth episode, and today we are going to be talking about hobbies outside music. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, Jeremy. It's a little gloomy outside, but I'm very happy. How are you doing, Jeremy?
Oh, it's not bad. It's same as every day.
I know
So
COVID times every day is like a copy and paste with a little bit of fluctuation here and there.
right, right. But yes. So today we could take a step away from our usual topic of music,
Hmm.
and how about we talk about our hobbies outside of music?
Hobbies. Do
So,
musicians really have hobbies?
well, it depends, right? Some people, music is their job and their hobby.
Hmm. Right.
And I mean, it depends on the person. I mean, some people I've seen, they only like music.
Hmm. Right.
Uh, but I mean, how about you?
Well, I like to eat. Eating is one of my hobbies, and cooking. It's one of the things I really enjoy, and I think many people in life love eating. When you have food in your mouth, very delicious food, it sends a signal to your brain that says, wow, this is very delicious. I want more of it. But then your brain signals when you're full too. So you got to be careful when you eat too much, then that will be very bad. So hobbies come with pros and cons too. Just because you like something doesn't mean you can overdo it. I'm sure you like eating too, right, Jeremy?
Right, right. I remember at your birthday party, you cooked for us, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And yeah, I mean, I do cook too, but I would say I like eating more than cooking. I mean, I do cook, but I wouldn't say it's that much enjoyable for me. I mean, I see a lot of recipes sometimes, and I think, oh, that looks so good. But when you look at the recipe, you don't want to make it.
That's funny because going to college, I didn't know how to cook. I
Oh, really?
wasn't, yeah, like I wasn't cooking at home. Like as a high school, my parents just cooked for me,
Mm.
and throwing me into college gave me the independence to cook for myself.
Oh,
And what I learned to cook was just an egg in a rice cooker. So
oh,
this was the first experience for me. I didn't know what appliances to use and what recipes to cook with. But you know what? Cooking actually made me grow as a person.
mm,
Cooking gives you discipline, it makes you think, and it also is a risk factor. If you're cooking, you could burn something, or you get something on fire, or you have it raw, right? So hobbies, I think, like especially for eating and cooking, it gives you a different aspect outside of music. And as a musician, you're gonna need other things to complement your practicing and your performing, because music is based on your life experience. And as we discussed before in our other episode, is it worth to be a classical musician? This is it. Eating and cooking. Anyone can do it, really. I mean, you just got to do it right, and the timing and the discipline. But if you can do it correctly, it's very well worth it, because you can taste it, you feel proud of your hard work, and it's the same things in music.
right. I feel anything that you do, it changes your thinking. And that's the same with playing instrument too. Even for those people who just play instrument for fun, they learn for fun. Just by touching the instrument, learning how to play, it changes their way of thinking, I feel. And maybe when they listen to music, they listen to it differently. And so I think maybe when you cook, you eat differently. So you are more you think more about how it's made. You know what I mean?
Right. And just like fast food to going to local restaurants to fine dining, Michelin restaurants, you get to have a more, how should I say, more refined taste in your food, right? The first time, like for me, if I just cook an egg and I just put salt and pepper, I think that's delicious. And I think in our previous episode, you said eating lobster, and if you keep eating lobster, you get tired of it. But in this case, if you just cook uh, this very basic. There's an egg or a peanut butter jelly sandwich. If you keep eating that type of food, maybe you'll get bored of it. Maybe you want to try something new, right? The same thing for music. If you keep practicing the same piece over and over, maybe you'll get fatigued. Your body is so used to it. That's not refreshing anymore, and then you get tired of it, right? So cooking, eating, are the hobbies that I really enjoy because I really apply this to my practicing and performing. You got to switch it up when you practice, right? Like Chopin, one day Chopin, and then another session I do Beethoven. And then the next day, maybe I'll do Beethoven first and then do Chopin. So sometimes I do play the same pieces, back to back for the days, but there I always switch it up. Once you do something and you keep doing it over and over repeatedly for the next few days, it's gonna backfire. Now, this is a different case when it goes to performing, right? If you have a recital to prepare, maybe that's not so much the case. You'll probably perform more and more, but you should always switch it up here and there so that your mind doesn't get used to it.
I feel food is actually really similar to music, actually, because I guess you can use food as an example to even express music. I think because maybe you say Tchaikovsky or other romantic music is like steak, and then something like Mozart or Haydn, it's like the salad,
I
and
wouldn't
then
say Mozart's like salad. You gotta do it like fish, fine and elegant. At least in my opinion, you can't put Mozart as salad. Oh,
but
you know what?
I,
What I was thinking, since you said you were thinking of Tchaikovsky, for me, I think steak should be Bach.
I thought Bach is the white rice.
Well, white rice. Although I love white rice, I cannot pertain white rice to Bach. Now, our listeners here may have different opinions on food and our composers here, but that's what makes us different, right? Our perception of music, there's a middle ground, right? You cannot play Bach like Beethoven, and you cannot play Beethoven like Chopin, or Chopin to Tchaikovsky, right? They're all different, but within those realm of a genre, you can tweak it a little bit and put your artistic touch, and that's what the same thing for food, eating, cooking, and sure, there's many people who despise sushi, and there's other people who love sushi, but that doesn't mean that they're no longer friends because they disagree on each other.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, I think that's what makes different players interesting, because if everyone plays the Bach like white rice, everyone plays the Bach like steak, everyone's gonna be playing the same. So
Right.
that's what makes it interesting because one person plays Bach like white rice, one person plays Bach like steak.
Mm.
You know. So,
Right. And you know what's funny is eating and cooking, right, is great. But if
mm.
you overdo it, problems can occur within your body.
Mm.
So, one of my other hobbies is also fitness. But I know that you're more of a fitness guru than me. And you always tell me, "Oh, I want to get big, man." So, Jervy, why is fitness so you're so passionate about fitness?
I feel I always like things that you can see your progress. So same thing with the music too. You practice every day and every day, maybe it's not this kind of improvement. But over time, if you look at yourself compared 2 years ago to now, your level is higher. And I feel it's the same thing about training in the gym, playing sport. If you look at yourself 2 years ago compared to now, your level now is higher. And then you feel if you keep working 1 year from now, 2 years from now, your level is going to be even higher. So I always like that kind of activity. It's the same as music, same with the training, same with the sports, anything. You can see your result.
That's a very good analogy. Which fitness programs or activities you like to do?
Well, I mean, I like training in the gym. I also play tennis, and I haven't gone for a while, but I used to like bowling too.
Mm.
But that kind of thing is, and even let's say in bowling, it actually shows in numbers. I actually started bowling because a singer that I really like, she used to be very into bowling when she was in high school or something. I mean, I think she still does it sometimes, but she said that her high score was 191. And then I said, "Oh, I want to try it, see how much I can get." And the first time I went to go bowling, my score was like 40.
Hmm.
But as I kept going, maybe every 2 weeks at least I went once. And I think my high score so far was 154 or something like that. I mean, I never got to 191 yet,
You
but
are close. You are very close.
but I haven't gone for a while, but hopefully I can go again, see uh how much I can improve. But it's the same thing. I think it's great because you can see your improvement in number. And then I guess if you train in a gym, you see your body, you see your strength, right? So let's say maybe um 1 year ago, maybe you can only bench press 225, but now you can do 255. And so you see that number, and I think it's very satisfying to see that improvement.
So for fitness, I know many musicians are always asking, when do I have time to go to gym? Right? It's a hobby,
Mhm.
right? But you've got to start it out and you got to get on the momentum to make it as a hobby. And some people don't view fitness as a hobby, but they know they need to do it. So how do you define the needs versus a hobby, enjoying it?
Well, I think some it's different for everybody, but I feel that it's healthy mentally to do different things. And of course, some people say, "Oh, you should always practice. You should always just think about music all day." And then for some people, that kind of approach works. But I think for most people, if you keep doing one thing and you only think about one thing, you're gonna break. And so I feel it's good to have something that your main focus is, but some do your hobby as well. And often because it's going to take your mind off your main focus. So if you let's say you're practicing and then of course not always it's not gonna go well all the time, and it takes a certain amount of focus to keep practice. Sometimes you hit the wall. But especially like when you hit those walls, do something else. You should definitely do something else, and then you'll feel when you're doing something else, your mind is completely away from your work. And then when you go back, you feel so much more refreshed.
Right. Those are very good suggestions, Jeremy. And to add, fitness or any type of fitness activities you do will always help you in any type of form. Your health, your endurance for performing in concerts. Personally, for me, I had some, you know, health or weight issues when I was a kid. Nothing very serious, right? How should I say? I didn't fit in my clothes, or I didn't feel I was very happy with the large clothes I was wearing. I know it's kind of weird to imagine I was a chubby kid, but it took a lot of hard work, and it's because I wanted to lose weight and I also wanted to be a healthier person. And so I threw myself out there on track and field. This is seventh grade. I said, what better way to do it than to run, right? And especially with nice weather, running is like a free machine. You can just go outside and just run. Of course, you gotta have shoes for it too. But, you know, the first few weeks were very difficult because I felt like I was really out of shape. I was huffing and puffing, and people around me were much quicker than I was. And I felt I didn't belong there. But my coach, who was also my mentor at that time, said, "Come on, Alex, you can do it. Keep going." And that was the motivation I needed because there was someone there supporting me. And just like in music, your teacher is also your mentor, someone who tries to take care of you and wants you to do your very, very best and reach your highest potential. Because that's what every teacher's responsibility and job is, to help and nurture their students. And that's why they're teachers. They are the role model for the students. So back to track and field, I kept running for a couple years, track and field, and then I joined cross country, ninth and 10th grade. I was getting better, but I was still the last one to complete all my practices. And I said to myself, wow, I really gotta get up there with my teammates. And eventually, I pushed myself every single practice. And then finally, in 10th grade, I made it to the top varsity team, the top seven. And I couldn't believe it. And I was placed in the varsity training, which was totally different from the general practices. But as you can see, it took me a couple years to reach to that level. And in music, the same thing. Just because you don't feel like you're playing well now doesn't mean you'll never play well. So fitness and music really go in correlation with each other, health wise and also your progress. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything, literally.
Right. I feel people who worked hard at something before and then achieve their goals, make their level higher, they can use that experience for anything. And then maybe for you, you worked hard at piano, you got better and better, you get your level higher. So just as you did with that, you can use for your running as well. And so I feel it's a good skill to have once you do your music practice, especially yeah, the musicians they work hard every day and then they try to improve their level. They can use that for anything, even if it's the sports or maybe even in their school study.
Right.
So maybe the same way, it's all about knowing how to improve your level. Because if you experience that in music, you know it's not always straight line improvement. You know
Mm.
that sometimes it's not going to go as you think, and so once you experience that, you can use it anywhere.
Right. So the question is, the hobbies are very beneficial for music. However, how do you balance it? How do you put it in your life if you're always thinking about, oh my gosh, I have, like, let's say people who are in college, right? They're studying music, they have so many classes, they gotta do their homework, and then they also got to practice. How do they fit in time, for these hobbies?
Well, I think uh, you have to know what is important, what's not important, and you have to think about your future. If you're a music student, right? If you're a music student in school, you have a goal, right? Maybe you want to become a performer, you want to become a teacher, and if your goal is to become performer or teacher, your main focus should be the instrument. And so I feel those people sometimes they say, "Oh, I didn't practice that much because I have the homework or something." I don't think that the homework is going to help your goal.
Don't tell me that you're suggesting our people here to skip out homework and just practice.
I'm not saying don't do it, but maybe practice first. Well, I mean, I guess it's the best if you could make a schedule. And so if you want to block 3 hours to practice a day, right? Then make sure you block out those 3 hours first. And I think people don't really understand, I think, because I never really run out of time. I usually have time left over. But I'm hearing so much, oh, I'm running out of time. I don't have enough time. But if you think about it, let's say you're at school, right?
Hmm.
Because I'll give you example. Uh, I wouldn't say who, but I it was like maybe 2 p.m., right?
Hmm.
I say, oh, why don't we go bowling? And he said, oh, I have to do some homework today. It's 2 p.m., right?
Right.
It's not going to take, let's say you sleep at 12, right? You have 10 hours. It's not going to take 10 hours to do your homework. And even if you need to practice, let's say let's -3 from there, right? It's 9 o'clock.
Hmm.
So from 2 to 9, you practice 3 hours. Uh, so you have 7 hours left, right? Because you subtract three.
Right.
Is your homework gonna take 7 hours? No, right? So let's say you eat, right? You have to eat the dinner too, maybe 1 hour. So you have 6 hours left, right?
Wow, you're
So,
very being
so,
mathematical
so
here.
now you have 6 hours to do your homework. Can you still do go bowling?
Right,
Yes,
but their
right?
their priority is homework. But maybe
Right.
maybe that's why they're thinking in their head, "Oh, I really gotta do this," and they're afraid that bowling probably take 1 hour, 2 hour
Right.
maximum. But because they're stressed, right? And we talked
Mm,
about stress.
right.
If you can think you can finish your homework within a certain amount of time,
Mm,
then they probably think, "Oh yeah, I can do bowling." But I think it's because their main focus was, "I gotta get my homework done," so
mm.
that's just in their mind the entire time.
Right. Maybe yeah, maybe I wasn't that kind of person. So maybe that's why. I mean, I think maybe it's because I never ran out of time, you know. I'm usually never late either.
For our viewers here, how many hours of sleep do you usually get?
Like around 8 or so,
Wow,
I think.
8 hours, and he still had
Yeah.
lots of time to do everything. So for those who are only getting 6 or 5 or even 4 hours, that you have a lot more time than Jeremy here.
I think it's because I don't um I don't delay the time I start. I think most people they delay the time they start doing something.
Procrastination.
Right. I'm usually done faster. And I think even in the tests,
Hmm.
I'm usually the first one done.
This is not life advice, people. This is all Jeremy's life experiences.
Right. So I don't know. I never really know why people they say they don't have enough time. But I mean, of course, yeah, you're limited. But for most people, especially when you're a student, I don't think there's any reason you're running out of time unless you're doing like 2 clubs or 3 clubs or something like that.
Yeah, it's basic. We can talk this in another episode, but priorities. Get your priorities straight, right? And if you want to do something, you're gonna do it no matter what. So like if your friend, for example, and he or she declined, maybe one really that homework is a lot. Maybe it requires a lot of work, right? So sometimes standing in someone else's shoe is also healthy. But the second one, let's say the homework was just maybe take maximum an hour really for an average person. And if he or she sees you as a good friend, they say, okay, yeah, let's go bowling. And you two have a good time. And then they go home and they do the homework. But it's really, really difficult to really understand unless you walk in their shoes and you ask. So, like you ask, hey, you need help with your homework? Then we can go bowling or something like that, right? So it's like two parties benefit from each other, and then that's how you can convince someone to join you in your hobby.
Right, right. So I guess that's it for our episode today, and we will see you next Tuesday. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on either Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, um, you could subscribe there as well. And YouTube also, please subscribe.
This
We'll
is
see you.
Pianolin. This is Pianolin TV. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye
Yeah.
bye.